In a quiet English village called Borley in Essex, there once stood a large Victorian house known as Borley Rectory, and it became famous across the United Kingdom as the most haunted house in England. And this is not a fictional story, but a real documented case investigated by journalists, priests, and paranormal researchers. The rectory was built in 1862 next to a church, and from the very first year, people reported strange sounds unexplained, footsteps and doors opening on their own even when the house was completely empty. The first family who lived there was the Bull family, and they initially believed the noises were caused by old wood and wind, but soon the disturbances became too clear and too frequent to ignore. Footsteps were heard every night, walking up and down the corridors and staircases, even when no one was awake, and sometimes the sounds followed people as if something unseen was moving with intention. Visitors who stayed overnight reported the feeling of being watched constantly, especially in the long central hallway where cold air would suddenly surround them. Local villagers whispered about an old legend connected to the land which claimed that centuries earlier a nun had been punished and buried alive nearby for falling in love with a monk, and her spirit never left the area. Although historians later found no proof of this legend, the sightings of a ghostly woman dressed in white continued to be reported by independent witnesses over many decades. People claimed to see her walking slowly along the garden path at night before disappearing into the walls of the rectory. Children staying in the house spoke of seeing shadowy figures standing silently at the ends of corridors. Furniture was found moved overnight without explanation, and bells rang without anyone touching them. In the 1920s, a famous British paranormal investigator named Harry Price became involved after hearing consistent reports from different witnesses who had no connection to each other. Harry Price organized official investigations and invited volunteers, journalists, and photographers to stay in the house under controlled conditions. During these investigations, loud knocks were heard on walls where no pipes existed, and objects were thrown across rooms without visible cause. Writing appeared on the walls in chalk and pencil saying phrases like "help me" and "get light," which deeply disturbed the investigators. One of the most frightening events occurred when a message appeared asking for prayers for a trapped soul, which suggested intelligence behind the activity. Photographs were taken, showing strange shapes and figures that could not be explained by lighting or exposure errors. According to experts of that time, people who stayed in the rectory reported waking up to see figures standing at the foot of their beds before vanishing silently. Several witnesses claimed to see a ghostly